everyone, I'm Vanessa and I'm here to do my next wrap-up of the last 4 things that I read.
I know you lied. I know you lied.
I'll start with One Crazy Summer, which is a children's book that is set in the 1960s in Oakland and follows 3 sisters, with the main character being the oldest sister, Delphine. The sisters are all going to Oakland to visit their mother, who abandoned them when they were really young. While they're in Oakland, they kind of get wrapped up in the community and they start going to the Black Panther affiliated school that they have during the summer. What I loved most about this book was how the characters were written, and specifically how Delphine, the main character, was written. Delphine is really responsible. She's definitely a planner. She's more about following the rules and kind of being no nonsense about all these situations that she's facing. I thought the sisters were really funny in general, all of them together, how they kind of added on to each other's dialogue and how they picked and teased at each other. I especially loved Fern, who is the youngest sister. She was really cute to read about. Another thing I really liked about this book was how the writing felt so refreshing, light, and matter-of-fact when everything in the background was really turbulent and contentious. And the setting is 1960s. It is in a city with Black Panthers surrounding them and kind of this relationship between police and the Black Panthers, which is not very good. So the whole aura should be really depressing and really dark. It should be like a tough time for you to be a child, but I don't think these children see it that way at all. So I thought this book did take that on in a different way, and in a way that I think children would react. I did really enjoy also learning about the Black Panthers and the summer programs that they were putting on, that the sisters were attending. This book explores themes of identity, family, and community, and I really enjoyed myself as I was reading this. If you're looking for a short children's literature book, I would suggest picking this one up. The second thing I will talk about is Paper Girls Volume 1. This is by Brian K. Vaughn, and the art is by Cliff Chiang. I loved this concept for a graphic novel. It centers on these 4 girls in the 1980s, and they are paper girls. They are delivering the morning papers on the night after Halloween. Unbeknownst to them, they're about to be involved in this sci-fi plot with time travel aspects. Number 1 for me was the coloring in this. I would say just because of the coloring, you should try to pick this up. It was just so beautiful to look at, and my eyes were just happy looking through this. I automatically also fell for these characters and the plot right away, and I think this is Brian K. Vaughn's expertise. He is a very good storyteller. He's really good at moving the action along, and he's also really good at making you feel addicted to these characters and to their story. I think towards the end it got a little bit confusing for me as to where the plot was going with the sci-fi themes, and we don't get a true answer at the end. You have to pick up the next volume, which I definitely will. But overall, I really enjoyed this take on like suburbia in the 80s. I love that we have 4 main girl characters, and I did enjoy the plot. It's kind of a mystery plot, so that was really fun for me to read. The next thing I read was They Can't Kill Us All, and this is by Wesley Lowery. I read this on audiobook while on my commute to and from work. I would describe it as part memoir from a reporter's point of view on the Black Lives Matter movement and events, and I would also call it part biography of the events and people that are involved in this very new movement. I think it was different than I expected, because I kind of expected like a history of it, and it was more of a contemporary take on it, just using his reporting and contextualizing his reporting, adding some more information that he didn't go into on his reporting about the specific activists that are involved. So it's definitely a rehashing of events you've probably heard about if you've kept up with the Black Lives Matter movement, but I thought that it was really well done in that it's good to have all of these incidents that, without looking at all together, look like random occurrences, but once you put them all together, they are this longer thread. I thought that highlighted the point of Black Lives Matter and policing and race as a subject that we need to discuss in America. I thought it discussed the people that are surrounding this movement really well, as in like I was like, yeah, that's exactly how I would describe that person, especially like DeRay McKesson, the way he was portrayed in this. It felt like the pros and cons of like his style was very well put as like a person who goes for emotions but who is also so invested in this that it's amazing, and it's important to recognize how much he cares. It's good as a reporter's take because it tries to take a sort of objective look at it. It taught me new things about people that I had heard about but didn't really do any research on, like for example Bree Newsome, who was the one that climbed up the flagpole and took down the Confederate flag in South Carolina. So it was really interesting to hear her background because I knew about what she did, but I didn't know about like her reasons for doing it, the way she practiced before she actually ended up doing the act of disobedience. So to me it was interesting to hear kind of more background to the things that I have already seen in headlines and read in articles. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about Maus Volume 1, and it follows Art Spiegelman interviewing and talking to his father as his father retells his experience during the Nazi occupation of Poland, as well as his father's multiple brushes with death before he ended up escaping Auschwitz. In this first volume, we haven't actually gone into Auschwitz yet, and I believe that's what Volume 2 is going to be about. This uses flashbacks and present day to tell the story, so it is Art Spiegelman in sort of a meta fashion, drawing himself, interviewing his father, and then drawing the flashbacks from his father, remembering his experience. I thought that the way he portrayed the present-day father seemed very realistic, like he has all these tics that I could believe from an elderly person and a person who has gone through as much as he has gone through in his life. So automatically what captured me was the characters and their relationships with each other. The use of foreshadowing in this is really devastating and upsetting, but it's also good because it gets you ready for what's to come, but it is difficult to read. So if that all seems hard for you, I would say to take that into consideration because there are a lot of graphic scenes in this and lots of graphic discussions as well. But I think with recent comments and recent admittals from the White House regarding Jewish people and the Holocaust and Hitler, I think this is very important to be reading, and it's, I think, always important to remember this history and honor the survivors by reading their history and never forgetting their stories. While reading this, I was reminded of the time when we had a Holocaust survivor come speak to us at the library at our school. He explained kind of how he bribed his way through the entire war and how because he was such a good violin player, he was able to play for the Germans and the Germans kept him around as a result. I hadn't thought of that in a long time, so reading this, it kind of brought those memories up for me again. As time keeps going on, these are people that are going to continue passing away, and we need to continue reading their stories so we never forget their stories. So that's what I'm finding really important about Maus, and I'm ready to pick up the second volume. That is it for me in this wrap-up. I hope you enjoyed watching my video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye-bye.